Who is Tara Buddha? And what would you do if someone told you that in order to really help beings, you had to reincarnate as a man, not a woman? Hi, my name's Ben, and those are two of the questions we're going to answer in today's video. Tara Buddha, like all the Tibetan Buddhist deities, has a number of aspects. She can be looked at and understood in a number of different ways. We're going to look at three of those aspects in this video. The first is Tara's ultimate nature, her essential true nature. The second is what's called the relative Tara. That's a powerful being who helps others in various different ways. And the third is the Tara Buddha mantra. So before we get into anything else, it's important to understand that there are lots of different Taras. So we're going to be mainly talking about the green Tara manifestation, but just to be aware there are other Taras. There's a white Tara, for example, and there are in fact 21 emanations of Tara that are traditionally recognized. So what is the ultimate aspect of green Tara? Ultimately, essentially, green Tara is mother-like compassion. The kind of compassion that actively intervenes and helps immediately on suffering occurring. So all the Tibetan Buddhist deities are compassionate. I did a video on Chinrezi, and Chinrezi is also very much associated with compassion. What's different about Tara Buddha's compassion, or green Tara's compassion, is that it's an immediate response to suffering and it's very active. So the reason Tara Buddha, green Tara, is associated with mother-like compassion is because mothers intervene immediately that their child is suffering. So if a mother realizes that her child is suffering or unhappy in some way, they act, and they act immediately in order to relieve the suffering. And in the same way, green Tara acts immediately and actively to relieve the suffering of sentient beings. It's very important to understand that we all have mother-like compassion. So if you're male, you can still have mother-like compassion. If you're female but you're not a mother, you can still have mother-like compassion. Mother-like compassion is the immediate desire to help and intervene to prevent suffering. And ultimately, this mother-like compassion is an aspect of our minds. It's something we all possess, whether we are male or female, whether we are parents or not. We all have the capacity for total mother-like compassion. So the second aspect of Tara is the relative Tara. And this relative Tara was a being who, according to the story, lived millions and millions of years ago in a different universe to our own. And she was the daughter of a king. She used to make lots of offerings to the monks. She was a very good Buddhist practitioner. And she decided that she would take what's called the Bodhisattva vow. The Bodhisattva vow is a commitment to become enlightened for the benefit of beings. So in other words, you vow that you will become enlightened so that you can help others. Now apparently some of the monks said, oh, this is really good, you want to take this vow, really, really good. What you should do is you should pray to be reborn as a man, because that's the best way to get enlightened, that's the best way to help people. Now the being who was to become Tara responded to this by saying, no, male and female don't exist in reality. They don't exist in the ultimate mind. They're just the product of confusion and unnecessary division in the mind. And not only did she say that, but she vowed that she would always reincarnate in a female form. And that's exactly what she did, and over many, many eons, after an awful lot of practice, she became enlightened. And during those eons, her main practice was to help beings by going into certain states of meditation, and she became known for that reason as a savioress. In one sense, green Tara is a sort of manifestation of, or an aspect of, the relative Tara, but in another sense, the green Tara that I was talking about in the previous section of the video has always existed. This mother-like compassion has always existed. But what the relative Tara did was she did so much practice that she became enlightened, and she effectively unified herself with the green Tara and with the other forms of Tara as well. So the relationship's a little bit complicated, but in one sense we can see the relative Tara as the same as the same essence as the green Tara Buddha figure. So the third aspect of Tara Buddha that I wanted to talk about is the mantra. And as with all Tibetan Buddhist deities, the mantra is the deity. The mantra is energetically and fundamentally connected with the deity. And each of the different forms of Tara has their own mantra. And the mantra of green Tara is Om Tare Tu Tare Ture SVAHA. That mantra is very widely available. You don't need permission to use it. There are various different tunes, but it doesn't matter which tune you use. The important point is the mantra, the sound of the mantra, and the resonance of the mantra. As with the Chinrezi mantra, you can do the green Tara mantra without any permission, so it's very, very accessible. Why do we do green Tara practice? The short answer is to get enlightened. Like all the deities, green Tara is a complete and perfect path to Buddhahood. But, also like most of the Tibetan Buddhist deities, green Tara is said to have particular functions. She's able to help you in particular ways. And the key one is fearlessness. Traditionally, it was said that by doing Tara practice you could overcome the 8 great fears. And these are things like flood, elephants, plagues, fires, and so on. Now, we don't have to look at those as a sort of literal list. Green Tara can help you overcome any fear. I know in my own personal practice I've used green Tara practice to overcome nervousness about operations, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, if you do green Tara practice, it can overcome fear. It's also interesting that the embodiment of mother-like compassion, green Tara, is said to overcome fear. Because of course, when we're little and we're frightened, the first thing we do is go and find mum. We might go and hug our mum, we might crawl into bed with mum, whatever. The first thing we do if we're frightened is go and find mum. So in one way, it makes a deal of sense that green Tara is connected with overcoming fear. There are many, many different practices of Tara. There are many different rituals, many different meditative practices that you can do which involve and are based around Tara Buddha in one of her different forms. But a really good practice, and one that's accessible and that anybody can do, is the 21 praises of Tara. I'll put a link in the description to a version of those praises that you can find online. And essentially the practice is to recite these praises with a heartfelt devotion to Tara. And they can be very, very effective. So I hope that was useful. Tara Buddha, like all the Tibetan Buddhist deities, has many, many facets, many, many aspects. So I've just scratched the surface in this video, but nevertheless, I hope it's a useful introduction. If you like the video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I hope to see you next time.